Here's a story. Bundy and Brady. Waiting for someone to show up. Good evening, Gianna Marie. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Glad you could join us tonight for True Crime Trivia, Ted Bundy edition. We are doing all the trivia tonight, 30 questions on Ted Bundy. Pretty in Camo, good evening. Jeannie, good evening. I hope you both had a wonderful weekend. All 30 questions tonight are on Mr. Ted Bundy himself. Margarita Christine, good evening and welcome. Diana W., good evening. Hope you both had a wonderful weekend. Tonight we are doing 30 questions, all multiple choice as normal. You will see the questions on the screen along with the 4 possible answers. And all the questions are on Ted Bundy tonight. Colleen the Cat Lady, good evening. Miranda, good evening. Hope you both had a wonderful weekend. Hi, I saw the topic is Ted Bundy, so I tapped fast. Well, I hope you enjoy it, Miranda. Queen C, good evening. Okie dokie, you're back. Hi, okie dokie again. Yeah, you were a little bit early to hit that, smash that like button. I hope everybody else does as well. Cement Shoes, they accidentally gave me a medication. Someone is getting a fire out. Well, I'm sorry about that, Cement Shoes. I have actually had that happen at the pharmacy one time. They mistakenly gave me someone's high blood pressure medication, and instead of the antibiotic that I was supposed to be, picking up, I was picking up like 3 prescriptions total. And they actually, I didn't actually take it because the bottle itself actually had the other person's name on it. They just put it in the wrong bag. So it was a clerk at a CVS pharmacy made the mistake. Sorry, I hope you didn't actually take the medication that was meant for somebody else. Brooks, good evening. Welcome to the True Crime Trivia tonight. Tonight is 30 questions, all about Ted Bundy. Multiple choice as normal. 4 answers, possible answers will be displayed on the screen, so you'll actually be able to see the possible answers. But these are all on Ted Bundy. LML will a notification that you had alive. Right, that the sound that you guys may hear in the background, that's my Ring doorbell. I'm actually watching it. It's on my cell phone. My wife and mother-in-law, my daughter, and my son are all going now to catch Pokemon right now. So, got to catch them all. My husband had his med switched once too. Would have killed him if he took it. That sucks. I'm glad it didn't didn't take it. Things happen. When it comes to medical mistakes, more people die here in America from medical mistakes than they do from, running across the life of, someone like Ted Bundy. Existential Dread, good evening. I hope you had a wonderful weekend, Existential Dread. In Canada too, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised, if it's worldwide, if it's the same issue. But it happens. But we don't get up in arms, and pound our fists on the table when a doctor mistakenly kills a patient. Doctor doesn't, unless they can really prove that he did it. They just malpractice. Insurance just settles it for you. At least here in America. Insurance companies are it's all a scam. All right. Every day is pretty great. Thanks, Will. Good. Let's get this party started with the first question tonight on Ted Bundy. First question. What was Ted Bundy's tested IQ level? What was his tested IQ level? Was it A, 112, B, 136, C, 188, or D, 109? Ted Bundy's tested IQ level. There's a gnat in here. Just flew right in my face. Denise Carr, welcome. Welcome to the True Crime Trivia tonight. All 30 questions will be just like the one you see on your screen now. The actual question and then the answers. Karen, Cadle, good morning, evening, wherever you are. Gianna Marie. Gina Marie. Sorry. Hope you both had a wonderful weekend. Thank you for joining us tonight. So, what was Ted Bundy's, Amy, welcome. What was Ted Bundy's tested IQ level? Actually, C, evening from Colorado. All right, the answer to the first question, what was Ted Bundy's tested IQ level? Ladies and gentlemen, he tested at a 136. B is the correct answer. In case you're wondering, anything over a 130 is considered gifted. It's not like rocket science, level. It's not like the highest, but it's not the lowest either. But anything over a 130 is considered gifted. All right. Question number. Amy is in upstate New York, Garo area. Oh, I've never been up there. At least I don't think I have. I've been to upstate New York, but I've always only been there one time. Every time I go to New York, I usually end up in New York City. We might make it over to the boroughs, Manhattan, or to New Jersey. But we usually stay in that one area, when we do go there. Question number 2. How many different states did Ted Bundy confess that he had killed in? How many different states? Is it A, 5, B, 2, C, 7, or D, 4? How many different states did Ted Bundy confess that he killed in? Mine is like 50. Starfire, good evening, Starfire. Welcome to the stream. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. How many different states did Ted Bundy confess that he killed in? I'm by Albany, right near where Robert Garo was from. Oh. It's hard to choose between confessed and how many do you think he killed in. This is true. Yeah, that is the tricky part to the question, is trying to figure out, well, how many states did he actually kill in versus his confession. And then you have to figure out, well, how many people did he actually confess to killing? A Gruden 1, good evening. Hey, high grade, I made it here. No YouTube notification. Well, good. I'm glad you could make it tonight, and I hope you had a wonderful weekend. All right, question number 2. How many different states did Ted Bundy confess that he killed in? How many different states? The correct answer, ladies and gentlemen, in his confession, the correct answer is C, as in cat. He said he killed in 7 different states. 7. C as in cat, 7 states. Now, his confession level and what he was actually proven to have killed are completely different. And even before he was actually executed, the day of his execution, he really didn't think that they were going to go through it. He thought he was going to get a stay of execution from the governor. Little did he know that the governor of the state of Florida really wanted him dead. But he thought that they were just going to wait to the final minute and then give him a stay of execution, because he had always hinted at he would tell them where he had other victims. So, but question number 3. When asked about religion, Bundy always said he was of what faith? When asked about religion, Bundy always said he was of what faith? A, Methodist, B, Catholic, C, Mormon, or D, Jewish? When asked about religion, Bundy always said that he was of what faith? Wow, how fast I lost twice on that one. How's the family, Mary? Family's doing great, sweetheart. They're out playing Pokemon Go right now. It's a game that they play on their cell phone. The Pokemon, the game, but they're out doing that catch 'em all. I was surprised that Starfire. I know you probably mean it as a joke, but I was surprised that something like that wasn't on the list. Satanism, something along that line, or agnostic. I never, when reading about Ted Bundy, he doesn't come off as somebody who would have any type of faith. Your grandson loves Pokemon Go. Now they're out playing it right now, as we speak. They drive to a local, I guess you call it like a strip mall, but it's in the middle, so like there's no actual like one side. There's stores all the way around it, so it's kind of like a huge square. And so they walk around it for exercise, but they also get to play Pokemon Go while they're walking. I'm cooking a big pot of chili for tomorrow. Smells awesome. That sounds good. My wife made a pork with a rosemary and apricot demi-glaze, salted potatoes, and peas and carrot mixture for dinner. It's really good. She's not much of a home chef, but she's starting to to find certain things that she really enjoys making. All right, I would think Ted would say that he felt was mostly socially acceptable. Yeah. When asked about religion, Ted Bundy always said that he was of what faith? The answer to question number 3, ladies and gentlemen, is Methodist. He was listed on his prison intake paper as a Methodist. When asked if he followed the Christian values of a Methodist or believed in religion, he always said that yes, he was a Methodist, and he really enjoyed going to the Methodist church as a young man. His grandfather was a high member in the Methodist church, and he really enjoyed it and kept the faith of it being a Methodist. But yet he killed people and did some pretty nasty things to people that after he killed them, ladies. But he said he was a Methodist. I don't think it's a reflection, on the Methodist, teachings, that Ted Bundy was a member. I mean, Dennis Rader was, said he was a Catholic. But all right, question number 4. What was Ted Bundy's grandfather's position? I almost gave away this answer a minute ago. But what was Ted Bundy's grandfather's position in the church? Was he A, a deacon, B, an altar boy, C, a door greeter, or D, an accountant? What was his grandfather's position there at the Methodist church? Yeah, okie dokie, your neighbor is a Methodist. Cheryl Hamilton, I'm here late, but I made it. Welcome, Cheryl. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. What was Ted Bundy's grandfather's position with his church? Stephanie Fisher, good evening. Welcome to True Crime Trivia, Ted Bundy edition tonight, Stephanie. As you can see from the screen, all the questions, there's 30 questions total. They're all multiple choice, and they appear on your screen or device that you're watching on. So, and they all have the possible answers, A, B, C, or D. You can keep track of the answers yourself and see how you do. Hopefully, you have fun playing. I love your walls. Looks great with the wood. Oh, thank you. Wasn't sure if the light was on. You can see the corner of the light right there where my fingers are. Boop. That's a big, huge fake tree that's back there. I think it's about 9 foot tall, the total tree that's in there. And then I've got 2 lights that are underneath it. One is kind of a silhouette light, and the other one is just like a big studio light. But thank you, Amy. We're getting this. I'm going to have to take out half of this wall over here so I can get this broken, freezer out. Oh, man. Didn't think about that at all. How I was going to get the freezer out of here if something like that ever happened. It won't fit out the regular door. It has to go out the garage door that used to be there. But we took the garage door out, and we actually it's been we put in 2x4 wall, and then the siding on the outside, insulated it, and then put sheetrock on the inside. I don't know if I really want to tear that all apart. My friend's going to think about, maybe we can take a sawzall and go between the 2x4 and the concrete and cut the bolts that way. And then maybe we can just move it out just a little bit so we can actually get the freezer out of here, because it's dead. It's not repairable. The actual line itself that comes from the tank, the actual soldering came undone and broke. We tried. We took the door off it, Amy, and still it doesn't matter which way we move it. We've actually measured it. It's almost 2 inches too wide, sideways or going this way. We moved it every direction possible. Thought about trying to dismantle the door, but this garage was built in 1953. It's the original garage, and then I have another 2-car garage that's next to this. So we turned this entire space into this studio. So, but we thought about trying to dismantle the door, but and these studs around it are there's 3, 6, maybe six 2x4s. I mean, this garage is built like a Sherman tank. I don't know why anybody needed to do that. Yeah, we thought about cutting it up too, Cheryl. Cutting the actual back of it off where all the compressor and everything else is. We might do something like that though. That's why we haven't done anything really at this point yet. We might do that. Cut it all apart in pieces and then drag it out through the door. We'll see. Hi, Short Nice. Welcome to the stream, sweetheart. Can you saw up at the freezer? Yeah, we're thinking about it. It's one of the things on our list, the possibilities. All right, what was Ted Bundy's what was his grandfather's position within the church? Ladies and gentlemen, the correct answer is A. His grandfather was a deacon in the Methodist Church. My husband cut up an entire pickup truck with one. A little crazy man, a Sawzall. They work great. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we might do that to try to get it out of here. I'm thinking if the freezer is done, it may be easier to cut it up. Yeah. We have a local company that does free appliance recycling. All you got to do is just take the old appliance, stove, microwave, dishwasher, washer, dryer, whatever it may be. You just take it to them, and they'll take it off your hands for free, and it stops the stuff from ending up in the landfill. They crush a lot of it, and then they recycle the metal, and the different components out of the appliances. So that's pretty good. All right, going on to question number 5. It is alleged that Ted Bundy killed Marie Burr in Tacoma in 1961. How old was she at the time of her death? It is alleged that Ted Bundy killed Marie Burr in Tacoma in 1961. How old was she at the time of her death? A, 21, B, 19, C, 6, or D, 8. How old was Marie Burr at the time of her death? And I am still here, ladies and gentlemen. I have just momentarily turned the camera off, so you, don't see what I'm doing here. Half Rudder, welcome. How are we doing, sweetheart? Long time no see. I hope you've been doing well, staying safe out there. Welcome to the stream tonight. Lori Niknovich, welcome. No, Cheryl. No, it's just there are some people who one of their goals, personal goals for the year, is to stop smoking, and I don't smoke on streams or anywhere because it may be triggering for them. So I'm trying to be respectful to other people's wishes if they're trying to quit, or maybe they have already quit. Then not will see somebody else doing it, so it may as to be a trigger for them. How old was Marie Burr? Well, half rudder, I hope it gets a lot better for you, sweetheart. I really do. Just keep your chin up and keep moving forward. It's the best advice I can give to anybody. All right, question number 5. It is alleged that Ted Bundy killed Marie Burr of Tacoma, Washington in 1961. How old was she at the time of her death? The correct answer, ladies and gentlemen, is D, as in dog. She was 8 years old. And Ted Bundy, I believe, would have been 14 or 15 in 61. Somewhere in there, right? I'm thinking. I would have to actually look at his birth date again. I'm not sure about his birth date, but I think he was like he had to be either 14 or 15 at the time. But it was alleged that he may have killed her. It was never proven, that he did, but there was a lot of circumstances that circumstantial evidence that actually pointed that Bundy was the actual killer. All right, question number 6. Believe it or not, Bundy attended college and studied what? What did Ted Bundy study in college? A, accounting, B, martial arts, C, Chinese, or D, plumbing? What did Ted Bundy study in college at one point? Yeah, I remember hearing about this. Can't be sure he did it, but it's possible. Yeah. How did you choose Ted Bundy for tonight? Just random? Stephanie, the answer to how I chose to do Ted Bundy tonight was a viewer suggestion. We were doing, every other weekend I focus on the trivia that we do, because we do this every Sunday. One Sunday will be just general crime trivia. And then the next Sunday, I try to focus on either a killer or a serial killer. And we were doing serial killers one weekend, and somebody said, "Hey, I hope there's questions on here about Ted Bundy." Well, there were only 2 questions about Ted Bundy on the entire 30 questions. And they said, "Well, I hope one of these days you do just one on Ted Bundy." So I got to work and put together 30 questions of little known facts about Ted Bundy. So here we are. It was 73 most of the day here in Ohio. Now it's 82, crazy, but lately getting hotter at night. I hate the heat. I'm sorry, Cheryl. It was 109 today here. Pretty hot. Too hot for me. What did Ted Bundy go to college for at one point and study? If you had chosen Jeffrey Dahmer, I would have aced this. Serial killers fascinate me, not to creep anyone out. No, I'll certainly put Jeffrey Dahmer on the list. We've done past episodes. I've done Ed Gein. We did John Wayne Gacy. Those are the last 2 main ones where we had a Sunday night of trivia questions on just them. But I will put Dahmer down because we have not done Dahmer. D-A-H. Dahmer. Always forget about the H in his name. Doesn't. Thanks, Will. Daughter hurt her leg in the pool. I had 2 toddlers and in-house broken dog all weekend. Oh, I'm sorry. My hubby killer is Israel Keys. Israel Keys would be fun to do. The only problem with Israel Keys is there's only so much information about Israel Keys out there. I'll put Keys on the list as well. I can't promise that either one of them is going to come up soon. The next weekend is going to be stupid laws from all 50 states. So so next week is general crime trivia, but it's going to be stupid laws next Sunday. Goodness. All right. Believe it or not, Ted Bundy attended college to study. The stupid gnat. Why is there a gnat here? But anyways, all right. Believe it or not, Ted Bundy attended college to study what? The correct answer, ladies and gentlemen, is C, as in cat. He studied Chinese as an actual, degree program. That was way before he ever went into study law. I believe he transferred to college in Utah when he was actually studying pre-law. Israel Keys looks like Malachi of Children of the Corn. He does a little bit, doesn't he? H.H. Holmes is your favorite. Little Dragon, and welcome to the stream, Little Dragon. H.H. Holmes. I'm writing all these down because I don't have the list in front of me of the ones that were actually. I have everything that I do. I write in these notebooks. I keep notebooks of different ones. Like I got 6 or 7 notebooks over there on just trivia that we've done or I've prepared. And after I get done with them, I write down done. We did it in the date. But all right. So question number 7. What did almost all of Ted Bundy's victims have in common with Stephanie Brooks, his ex-girlfriend? What did almost all of Ted Bundy's victims have in common with Stephanie Brooks? A similar hairstyle. B, same education level. C, they drove the same type of car. Or D, they were all sexually active. What did almost all of the victims of Ted Bundy's have in common with his ex-girlfriend, Stephanie Brooks? That's a lot of A's really quickly. A, hairstyle. Everybody wants A. At 411, they hanged H.H. Holmes on my birthday 100 years ago. I did not know that. Cement Shoes did not know that. Huh. That's interesting. I gotta look up one of those things that I know they have websites that's like things that famous people who share your birthday or famous events that have happened on your birthday. I have no idea if who I share my birthday with. I know that Light Feather, who's a fan of the channel, subscriber, her birthday is one day different from mine, or it's on the same day. It's either or. It's either the 20th or the 18th. Girls changed their hairstyle while Bundy was still unknown to police. What did almost all of Ted Bundy's victims have in common with his ex-girlfriend, Stephanie Brooks? Okay, maybe less. I'm old, but it was May 7th. Well, I was just thinking the same thing. Need to look at mine. And it'd be interesting to see, who else shares my birthday. I'm sure there's someone famous out there, who has same birthday as me. If nothing else, for curiosity's sake. What did all his victims have in common with Stephanie Brooks? The correct answer, ladies and gentlemen, is A. They all had the same hairstyle. And it was So as it was suggested there in the comment section, a lot of women started changing their hairstyle and hair color because the MO went out with what he was actually looking for and what he was actually into before they caught him. I'm gonna kill this stupid gnat, man. I don't know why there's a gnat, one lonely ass gnat in here. I mean, we never eat in here. We don't drink anything in here except for water. Glowworm, welcome. Sketty Nona, welcome. What's on May 7th? Greetings, everyone. May 7th is apparently the day they hung H.H. Holmes. It's also the birthday of cement shoes. Okay, question number 8. During the confession to being addicted to pornography, which isn't true, he wasn't. He just wanted to appease the preacher. But during that confession to being addicted to pornography, how many serial killers did Ted Bundy say he had met? A, 2, B, 10, C, 8, or D, 12 plus? How many serial killers did Ted Bundy himself say that he had met? Sketty Nona, your birthday is May 6th. That's cool. I think me and Jesus are the same age, so don't feel bad. Jesus. That gnat is Ted's ghost. I mean, I can't see him. I mean, first off, I don't have my glasses on. So, but the gnat, I can't see it until it's like right here, almost in my face. Don Larson pitched a no-hitter on my birthday, October 8th, 1956. Don Larson. Did he pitch for the Giants? Or just the Reds? I'm picturing the name. I mean, his face. Is a gnat a mosquito? Nah, they're kind of close to each other. Yankees. Okay. A gnat is like a kind of like a fruit fly, tiny little sucker, but they're annoying as hell. And of course, I don't know where the thing is. Hopefully, he decided to leave because I don't want him around. Goodbye, Ted Bundy's ghost. During his confession to being addicted to pornography, how many serial killers did Ted Bundy say he had met? Okie dokie is guessing C, 2. Well, okie dokie, you're right. The correct answer is C, as in cat, 8. When they asked him to elaborate on which 8 serial killers he actually met, he didn't want to go into it. But he said that he had met 8 serial killers. I don't know. Genie C, I literally fly straight into your eyes. Yeah. Annoying little things, aren't they? All right, question number 9. Who wrote the novel Stranger Beside Me with personal knowledge of Ted Bundy? Was it A, Anne Rice, B, Anne Rule, C, Stephanie Harlow, or D, Janet Bing? Who wrote the novel Stranger Beside Me? And if y'all haven't read this book, I highly suggest it. I have it in the house. It's a great book. Stephanie Fisher. You're guessing C because you like her name. Karen, you've read it. It's a good book. I'm more of a Mary Higgins Clark fan than Anne Rule or Rice. But I mean, Rule writes some really good books. So does Rice. Heineken Longneck. And Rule is your favorite. She does write some really good books. A couple of them have been made into movies too. Stephen King. You like reading Stephen King? I think my wife has got just about every Stephen King novel ever written. Even the book he wrote on how to become a writer. It's usually the last person to take advice for writing on, because King wrote most of his novels high on cocaine. He's not shameful to admit it. Heineken makes me less like Einstein. All right, who wrote Stranger Beside Me? The correct answer, everybody, is B, as in boy, Anne Rule. Anne Rule. Will, there's a good book about Israel called American Predator by Maureen. Oh, I'll have to look into that. Maureecal, Callahan. Callahan, like Callahan Motors from Tommy Boy. All right. Question number 10. After escaping custody in Colorado, where was Ted Bundy arrested a few days later? A, Spokane, Washington. B, Tacoma, Washington. C, Detroit, Michigan. Or D, Aspen, Colorado. After escaping custody in Colorado, where did Ted Bundy get arrested a few days later? Sounds like that Julia Roberts movie. Oh, Pretty Woman? Is that the one you're thinking of? No Sleeping with the Enemy. One with the abusive husband. I'm not familiar with a lot of Julia Roberts movies, to tell you the truth. I mean, I think I've maybe seen 2, maybe 3. I'm sure she's got a huge, catalog of movies that she has done. It's just I'm not really familiar with them. Cheryl Hamilton's going with Aspen. Yeah, some D's. B. I want to see Aspen. I've never been to Aspen, Colorado myself. I've been past the exit to it. My sister lives in Denver. She's closer to Denver now, but she used to live in Fort Collins and Greeley, area. But now she's closer to Denver. I have seen gorgeous pictures, but I want to see the real thing. Welcome, Marilyn. Wow, looking sharp. Well, thank you, Marilyn. All right, after escaping custody in Colorado, where did Ted Bundy get arrested a few days later? The correct answer, ladies and gentlemen, is D, Aspen, Colorado. And Rykart, welcome. You missed 9 questions already? I'm sorry. Yeah, well, the question number 10, the correct answer is D, as in dog, Aspen, Colorado. He was arrested in Aspen, Colorado a few days after escaping. By the way, he escaped more than once from different jails. They weren't the same jail. Question number 11. Arrested for the 3rd time and final time, where was Ted Bundy when he was arrested? A, Spokane, Washington. B, Tacoma, Washington. C, Aspen, Colorado. Or D, Pensacola, Florida. Where was Ted arrested for the 3rd and final time? Turned around. If not, he may have gotten out. I have to sit around with a pretend broken leg. LOL. I don't ski. I'm from Wisconsin. There ain't nowhere to really go skiing, like downhill skiing. People cross country ski. There's like one man-made hill outside of Minneapolis. The people go skiing down, and then I moved out here to the West Coast, and a lot of my friends were into skiing. They'd go, away on the weekends, to go ski resorts and stuff like that. I was never really into it. I bought a snowboard at one point, but it just wasn't my thing. So I'd go with them whenever I did, and I'd just hang out in the lodge. Meet some really interesting people from all over the place, though. Hit the thumbs up if you hate Bundy. Hit the thumbs up if you hate Bundy. Hit the thumbs up if you like the content and the work that I'm doing here. I can't walk in high heels, alone ski. Arrested for the 3rd and final time. Where was Ted Bundy when he was arrested? The correct answer, ladies and gentlemen, is D, as in dog. He was arrested for the 3rd and final time in Pensacola, Florida. I'm like 2 hours away if I want to go skiing, either farther upstate or Vermont. I'm not seeing anything on my end, Stephanie. With it, I hope nobody else is. Is Vail the best place to go skiing, Rykart? Huh. All right, question number 12. How many women did Ted Bundy confess to killing? How many women did Ted Bundy confess to killing? A, 22, B, 36, C, 15, or D, 32? How many women did Ted Bundy confess to killing? Oh, cement shoes. Oh my God. Sonny Bono cured you of your skiing itch. Yeah. In case you don't know, Sonny Bono died skiing. A skiing accident took the life of Sonny Bono. Sonny and Cher, in case you're not familiar with Sonny Bono was, he was also the mayor of Palm Springs, I believe. Oh God, that would pretty much cure it, I guess. Maryland, 22. I don't know. I know. I believe it's over 100. Well, what he was actually convicted of and what they can actually prove, the number is a lot less than the numbers that are on your screen there. They can prove that, I think he had a total of like, I think 10 or so that they can say, look, he definitely did this. If we were to try him for it, we could convict him of it. But in the end, I think he was convicted of 3, given 3 life sentences. Some people believe that Sonny was set up for that death. I didn't know that. Oh my God. Right, Sketty Nona? Skiing didn't kill him. The tree did that. Cher would have mowed that tree down. Talk about somebody who's reinvented themselves in their career so many times, to stay relevant over the years. Look back on Cher's career. She has reinvented herself so many times to stay relevant. Ted Bundy's ghost is back. She hit her head and didn't get attention and died of a brain something. She was skiing. RRH, good evening, RRH. University of Utah is where he transferred to actually study law, pre-law. Natasha Richardson. She can turn back time. Liam Neeson's wife. How many women did Ted Bundy confess to killing? The correct answer, ladies and gentlemen, is B as in boy, 36. He gave 36 full confessions to the FBI. That is where it lays. But leading up to the week prior to his actual death, he hinted at that he had killed more, and he would be willing to tell them about those crimes if they would give him a stay of execution. He thought that, so highly of himself that even at the end, leading up to the pending doom that was going to, going to happen, he really believed that he had the bargaining chip in his hand. But little did he know that the governor of Florida at the time really didn't give a damn. He wanted him dead. So B is the correct answer. All right, next question, 13. Where did Ted Bundy go to high school and graduate? That's an interesting question. Where did Ted Bundy go to high school and graduate? Was it A, Taft High School, B, Davis Park High School, C, Woodrow Wilson High School, or was it D, the Department of Corrections? Where did Ted Bundy go to high school and get his high school diploma from? Funny how Ridgway killed twice as many and was only half as smart. I don't know, Cement Shoes. You know, Ridgway's a pretty smart guy. I mean, he's morally bankrupt. I mean, I'm not going to say that he's, you know, I would want to hang out with the guy, but he'd be interesting to talk to. Moments in Trading, welcome. I hope you had a wonderful weekend, Moments in Trading. Welcome to the stream. Hope you enjoy the trivia tonight, Moments in Trading. Well, you are triggering me by trying not to trigger me. I'm sorry. Yeah, are you a, what was it? Have you seen the comic, you know, Family Circle? The comic with little children and mom and dad, where the little boy says, what do you, dad asks the little boy, what's the one thing you're supposed to say, you know, to, if you want something, and he's trying to get the little boy to say, please, but the little boy says, that he's offended. If you, what's the one thing you're supposed to say? I'm offended. You heard that Ridgway was Otis tool caliber, 67 IQ. Well, Ridgway, you know, was in the service, so he had to pass at least a basic aptitude test to get in the service. Half runner, Woodrow Wilson University High School. Where did Ted Bundy go to school and graduate? Pretty please. When someone asks, what's the magic word? I answer abracadabra. Abracadabra. Wanna reach out and grab you. Abracadabra. Marilyn, you don't remember much? I have forgotten more than I'll ever remember. Some days I just have to, like, you know, spew all the knowledge from my brain so I can fill it back up with even more. Right? That's the first thing that the word abracadabra, that's what it reminds me of, is the song. Okay, where did Ted Bundy go to high school? The correct answer, ladies and gentlemen, is C, Woodrow Wilson High School. Graduated, I would say, like, middle of the pack in his high school, but he went to Woodrow Wilson High School. I can't remember the lyrics to this song. I haven't heard in 20 years, but don't ask me what I had for breakfast. You can remember the lyrics of the song, but you can't remember what you had for breakfast. I have really good long-term memory, but short-term, and the reason why I write so much of this stuff down in notebooks, I take notes on just about everything. If not already mentioned, the serial killer who appeared on The Dating Game passed away yesterday. That was Rodney Alcott. Alcali? How would you pronounce that? Alcali? That was Rodney. Yeah, he died yesterday? Huh. Did not know that. Okay, question number 14. What did Ted Bundy study at Temple University and receive honors in? Temple University. What did he receive honors in? A, psychology, B, law, C, math, or D, TV repair? What did Ted Bundy study at Temple University and receive honors in? Rodney was 77. Wow. Do we get time to study? You can if you want. What did Ted Bundy study at Temple University? I didn't even know until I was researching and looking these questions up and doing this. I didn't even know that Ted Bundy went to Temple University. I knew he went to several different colleges in and around the Puget Sound area. He went to like Evergreen Community College, State College back then. That's now community college. He went to Puget Sound, a couple other colleges up there, and then he went to Utah, to study pre-law. But I don't remember him ever going to Temple University. But he did. He most certainly did go to Temple University. Oh, thank you so very much for the super chat, Half Rudder. Well, I appreciate it. That's what we're here for every Sunday night. And I hope you enjoy the true crime trivia. Thank you again. All right. What did Ted Bundy study at Temple University and receive honors in? Ladies and gentlemen, the correct answer is A, psychology. And he received, not only did he receive honors in it, he was his professor in the psychology department listed Ted as one of the bright and shining students in the class. Honors, and his professors thought very highly of him. So I know maybe Ted had a little bit of that knowledge that he used in psychology. He certainly used the psychology to lure his victims, knowing the ruse and everything else that he was hurt and he needed help. That's how he got his victims into his Volkswagen. Question number 15. What was Ted Bundy's salary while working for Nelson Rockefeller's presidential campaign in Seattle? A, $80,000. B, $0. He was a volunteer. C, $250,000. Or D, $31,119. What was Ted Bundy's salary while working for the Nelson Rockefeller presidential campaign? My social media manager would like to remind everybody to go over to Reddit if you use Reddit and follow me on Reddit. I have my own subreddit. It is listed in the description of every video. There's a live link you can click on there if you use Reddit to follow me. There is also a link in the top corner, which would be this one, would be in that corner up there. On the homepage, there's a little tab there, a little Reddit button with a little, got alien guy with a little bent antenna thing on his head. Clary Thompson, welcome. Jens, hi Will, hi all, hi Jen. What was Ted Bundy's salary when he was working for Nelson Rockefeller's presidential campaign in Seattle? A lot of people are guessing B. He was a volunteer. I hope you had a great weekend. Sorry, I started reading it, the comment and everything else. They were getting distracted. Squirrel. Sometimes I have squirrel brain. All right, the correct answer to question number 15. What was Ted Bundy's salary while working for the Nelson Rockefeller presidential campaign? The correct answer is B, as in boy. He got nothing for it, but he became very heavily involved in the actual presidential campaign in getting Nelson Rockefeller elected to become president. So much so it became an all-consuming effort on Ted's behalf, and with his connections to the social circles of in the Seattle elite, he was able to raise quite a bit of money and help the campaign quite a bit. But the correct answer is B, 0. He didn't make a dime, but he spent a lot of money doing it. All right, question number 16. When was Ted Bundy's daughter born? When was Ted Bundy's daughter born? April of 1988. December of 1987. C, October 1982. Or D, June of 1981. His one and only daughter. When was his daughter Rose born? And by the way, her name is Rose. And she has changed her name, and she does pretty much live off of all social media. But she's still out there. B, he wanted access to Happy Hour. Poor child, what a legacy. Yeah. Well, think about Mom. Mom was just a fan. And she became infatuated with him, through the trial. And where he was being housed, there was no conjugal visits allowed there. But through bribery, they were able to actually get a visitation, a conjugal visit between Bundy and his child's mom. Pensacola, Florida. Yeah. I knew the previous two. This one is a total guess. I don't know. What about being Dennis Rader's child? Right? There's a lot of serial killers out there, and a lot of killers, famous killers, who have had children. Carol Boone. Yep. When was Ted Bundy's daughter born? He almost had a kid with Liz Kendall, too. Hot Space, welcome. Oh, in prison, they find ways, even hiding behind a vending machine. I watched Jay Williams' Prison Story channel. I've never heard of Jay Williams. I subscribe to the After Prison show. Joe Guerrero is the host of that. That's on YouTube. YouTube channel called After Prison. And then Lockdown 23. (1972), but couldn't keep it as she was working to put Ted through law school. Are you not entertained? Don't forget to give this a thumbs up if you like the content, ladies and gentlemen. So the answer to question number 16, when was Ted's daughter born? The correct answer is C, October of 1982. October of 1982. Jay's the best. Found his Jay Williams Let's Live. It's just him telling prison stories. Huh. I'll have to look into that. A daughter of a serial killer wrote a book about being the daughter. Pretty sure it was Gacy's daughter. Well, I know the Iceman. His daughter wrote a book. Bind, torture, kill. Dennis, I was wrong. I said D, but I knew it was between C and D. Ted Bundy, Rome. The smiley face, really? Same. Quite a few, they've tried to live normal lives and have children, wives. And, just think about that for a second. You're laying down next to a serial killer every night. Just think what that's got to be like when you find out that they're a serial killer, and that you've been there all that time with them, doing the mundane things, eating breakfast or going to the grocery store or whatever it may have been, and then you find out that your spouse, who you've been laying down next to every night, in their spare time, is out killing people. Yeah, I know Dennis Rader's daughter wrote a book. All right, question number 17. What type of car did Ted Bundy always drive? Was it A, a Ford, B, a Volkswagen, C, a Chevy, or D, a Buick? What type of car did Ted Bundy always drive? I'd be like with Liz and Molly from 1969 to 75. Wow. Yeah. Layton, Ogden, Salt Lake. Did he? I didn't know that. I know he had been to Utah quite a bit. Meep. Welcome. Kay, welcome to True Crime Trivia, Kay. And Meep, welcome as well. I hope you both had a wonderful weekend. Most of the Balin's videos lately are true crime. Yep, they most certainly do. Amy, they have his Volkswagen is insured for quite a bit of money too. This one is too easy. Well, I hope you still enjoy it. Me. In my driveway out here, I have a 1965 Volkswagen Beetle, hardtop, and it's my wife's car. It hasn't been on the road now in 6 years. My father-in-law came up to work on it 6 years ago, drained all the oil out of it because he was going to do an oil change and adjust the valves or something, and never got back to doing anything with it. And it, year after year has just gone by, and he hasn't done anything. So it sits in the driveway now on blocks, just outside of my other garage. I like the purple chair. Yeah, that's my wife's. When we do our podcast, she sits in that one, and I sit in this green one over here. The green chair and the purple chair have been sitting in the other studio for a while. She's slowly but surely, getting the other studio decorated. I really like the 67 to 69 Volkswagens. I've owned 2 kit cars built on bugs as well. Oh, that's cool. Moments in Train. Wasn't it also yellow? His Bundy's bug? Yes. Knoxville, Tennessee. All right. He also had a 1933 Plymouth at some time. Can't remember the year. Hot space. What type of car did Ted Bundy always drive? The correct answer is B. Volkswagen. Now, Ted Bundy did own, and you are correct, hot space. Ted Bundy owned several other cars besides Volkswagens, but he drove a Volkswagen because when he was going to college, it was cheap, it was economical, and it was a brand new car back then. You have to remember when he was going to college was in the 70s, and when he was, getting around. So it was a car for everybody, and it was really easy to take the door handles off of the inside of the car. So he took the inside door handle off, so his victims, if they came to, they couldn't get out. All right, question number 18. After strangling 12-year-old Kimberly Lechner, Jacksonville, days later, Bundy was arrested for what? Yeah, shoplifting, bad checks, arson, or auto theft. What was he arrested for after strangling 12-year-old Kimberly Lechner? You live in a trailer park, Will? No, I don't. But thanks for asking. I know, you're just kidding. Starfire, I live in a, I guess you call it a planned, gated community. It's it's a homeowners association, so we have an HOA, which sucks. And I'd never buy a home in an HOA again, but I do. But yeah, it's just sitting there. You can't see it from the road because we've got like 2 other cars that that block it. Trust me, if the HOA found out that it was sitting on on jack stands and 2 cinder blocks, they'd be pissed. This entire studio was done. All these walls, we took them and we made them at my friend's house, and then they came in sections in here, and we brought them in the middle of the night, and we bolted them together. So like this wall with the window that's directly behind me, That wall is 2 sections, and we put it together with lag bolts and nuts. So there's 2x4 here and here, and we drilled through with lag bolts through them each, with a nut and bolt, lag bolt, and then brought them in here and assembled it and finished it in place. Because you're not allowed to convert anything, so they don't know that this is what I've done with the space. From the outside, it looks totally normal, like it should be. It used to be 2 single garage doors because it's a 3-car garage, but and it's like really long. But we actually built this space in here without their approval. So in the middle of the night, me and my friend brought the sections here, the walls that we had done at his house, put them up, assembled them, bolted them all together. Hot space? No. Kimberly Lechner was the youngest victim, unless you consider the little girl that he may have killed in 1961, who was 8 years old at the time. She would have been the youngest victim, but Kimberly Lechner was the youngest victim at 12. Most of his victims, he had a 15-year-old that he killed, 12-year-old, a 15-year-old, and then the rest of them were all college age. No one. But they think he killed that young girl as a kid, but aren't sure. That's true, Amy. That you've never convicted of that actual homicide. Rebel, right? Yeah, the homeowners association would flip out if they found out what I actually converted this, and it's my property, But yeah, well, all the Karens haven't caught you yet. No. They haven't. All right. What was Ted Bundy arrested for after he strangled Kimberly Lechner to death? The correct answer, ladies and gentlemen, is D. Auto theft. He stole a Volkswagen Super Beetle, and he was caught. The cop had pulled him over, and well, the car was stolen. I thought he killed Lynette Culver, who was 12. Don't know, though I heard it a few times. Was Lynette Culver 12? I'd have to actually look that up to tell you the truth, thought space. But I thought that Kimberly was the youngest at 12, and then he had another victim that was 15. But I could be wrong. I mean, I don't exactly say that that I'm an expert on Ted Bundy. Don't know. I don't know half as much as about Ted Bundy as I do about some other serial killers. I'm not sure what to think with the 1961 case of Anna Marie Burr. There's a lot of circumstantial evidence that points to that Ted Bundy may have actually committed that murder. The MO was the same. The method that she was actually killed, strangled, and the description of other witnesses who saw the perpetrator, matched Bundy almost to a T. There's a lot of things like that that points directly to that it very well could have been Ted Bundy. But then again, it could have been some other kid who looked a lot like Ted Bundy back then. All right, question number 19. How many people showed up and cheered for the death of Ted Bundy on January 24th, 1989? That's the day he was executed. How many people showed up? Was it A, 100, B, 1,000, C, 2,000 plus, or D, 50? How many people showed up and cheered for the death of Ted Bundy? I've never lived anywhere but East Tennessee. Are VW Beetles called doodlebugs everywhere else? I've never heard of them called doodlebugs. So there are two basic styles of the Volkswagen Bug itself. The Beetle if you will. And the original ones are called Beetles. All right. And then there's the Super Beetles, the 1970s version, have a bigger, tail lights, bigger headlights, and a little bit more of a comfort things in them. Well, thank you for the super chat, Mary. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. But Doodlebug, I've never heard of them called Doodlebugs. Maybe they call them Doodlebugs somewhere else, here in America. And incidentally, up until, I can't remember, it was sometime not too long ago, maybe within the last 10 years, they were still manufacturing the Volkswagen Super Beetle, the 1970s looking version of it in Mexico up until about 10 years ago. I think that's when they stopped. Doodlebugs, slug bugs. Well, that's the people punch each other when in the arm when they see one. Slug bug. I've heard that. I've never heard of it either, Mary. But I mean, I've heard of slug bug. People. It's like driving along. You and your sister or brother or whatever. Slug bug, and you pop each other in the shoulder. I've heard of that. Herbie the Love Bug. You're right. That's the Super Beetle version, the 1970s version of the body style. AMC Gremlin. White cart. I had a green AMC Gremlin. Pea green with a darker green interior. Vinyl. That damn thing is probably still on the road to this day. Leaked oil like there was no tomorrow. As long as you kept oil in the thing, ran like a champ. I had that, and I had a Maverick. That is my forte into the AMC world. I had a lot of friends who had Scouts and stuff like that, but how many people showed up though to cheer the death of Ted Bundy? The correct answer, ladies and gentlemen, is C. 2,000 plus people showed up outside of the penitentiary to actually cheer on that Ted Bundy had been executed. According to the Miami Herald, they reported that over 150 people terminated the electricity for their homes or residencies to make sure there was enough electricity to actually electrocute him fully. So much so that they actually released a statement when people would call the actual phone number to terminate electricity, and not even in the same area. But anyways, they had a message that said you do not need to turn off your electricity for this execution. Remember the Vega? Yeah, I remember the Vega. I've never owned one. I think the worst car I ever owned was a Chevy Chevette. They're pretty close to the, I had a Citation as well, but Chevette, piece of shit, is what it was. You were learning to drive in your papa's old Maverick? That's cool. I learned to drive in 1970, I want to say 73 or 70, early 70s, GMC full-size pickup with 3 on the tree. Took out some guy's yard driving it. Panic. Went up off the curb and hit the brakes and skid through this guy's yard. I had to work for him for I think 4 months or something like that, repairing his yard, doing other chores around this guy's property, mowing the lawn and everything else, and and then I had to buy the seed and everything else to repair what I did. In an Army Jeep, what a CJ? 5, 4 or 5 would I think would be an Army Jeep. No, maybe I'm thinking of, maybe it's the 5 would be the 80s model. Could have been. My worst car has 2 feet. Grandparents, Papa and Mama. Alrighty, next question. Question number 20. I am the most cold-hearted son of a bitch you will ever meet. This is a quote from Ted Bundy. Who did he say this to? A, the police, B, a nun, C, a priest, or D, his lawyer. I am the most cold-hearted son of a bitch you will ever meet. Who did Ted Bundy say that to? Yeah, my daughter and Jen, when referring to her grandparents, grandma and grandpa, it was Nima was grandma, and Pom Pom is how she referred to grandpa when she was growing up. Papa and Nima. I had a Pinto and a Maverick too. I took mine with a 4-speed, and I'm still driving a stick. Well, my truck is a stick. My wife's is not. It's an automatic. And we have a Ford Escape. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do with, but I get rid of it. But that's automatic. And then I've got a 1971 Ford F100, and that is a stick as well. But growing up when I was a little kid on the farm, I mean, I used to drive the truck around on the farm, running errands, dropping off hay, or feeding the chickens or cows or whatever I had to do. But I didn't have any knowledge of actually driving on the street. Then I had to learn to actually take my driver's license. Your neighbor had a Pinto? You're blind in one eye? Jeannie, I'm sorry. Oh, T-Money. Haven't checked in a while. Hope you're doing well. Picture quality looks really good, really good. Here, didn't you do something different? T-Money. Well, I've changed around the studio. I hope but anyways, I hope you've been doing well. I'm here, but hope you've been staying safe, and and everything's been going good with you. And Stacy, good evening, Stacy. I hope you had a wonderful weekend, Stacy. How about that dude with the spiked hair that defended himself but received 3 life sentences? Wasn't that just the oddest thing? I was looking at his hair and I was like, how the hell is that even remotely respectful to the court? You would think that they would tell him, look, go do something with your hair before you come out here. I saw that, Stacy. That was just absurd. Yeah. Yeah, I saw that, Stacy. Will, are you stuck with a car and a model? The model is Escape. Just leave the garage door open. I wish I could. We don't have that much of a crime rate around here. I mean, every once in a while, we might get a teenager who goes through the neighborhood with their stereo going up too loud, but it's a gated community. You can't just get in here and drive around. Sideshow Bob. Didn't it really? I mean, it kind of looked like Sideshow Bob's hair. I mean, we don't need to get into his his ethnicity, but that was just insane. I was watching that on CNN. I was like, what is that? Why would you even allow that in your court? Learned how to ride a motorcycle on it in a big field. That's cool. O'Neill's hair looks like the Burger King crown. Okay, so I'm the most cold-hearted son of a bitch you'll ever meet is a quote from Ted Bundy. Who did he say that to? He said that to the police when they arrested him on murder charges. That was one of the first things he said to them after he was booked on murder charges. It's a real quote from Ted Bundy. All right, we got one more coming up next. Question 21. Guilt is the mechanism we use to control people. It's an illusion. This is a quote from Ted Bundy. Who did he say this to? A. Scott Hemster. B. Jason Canner. C. Stephen McHowd. D. Warden Stevens. Who did he say? Guilt is a mechanism we use to control people. It's an illusion. That was his crown. It kind of looked like a crown, didn't it? But I was watching it. I was like, what the hell is going on in this court? I know that would never fly in my friend's court. My friend's a sitting district court judge. He would never allow anything like that in his courtroom. And every once in a while, you get people who will show up, in flip flops, cut off shorts, and like tank tops. I mean, he's just like, go home, change into something else, come back. Sideshow what? Got life as his own lawyer. Bundy got the chair. I was thinking he looked like one of those troll dolls, or something like that. But now that you guys say like Sideshow Bob, yeah, he definitely looked like Sideshow Bob. Guilt is a mechanism we use to control people. It's an illusion. This is a quote from Ted Bundy. Who did he say that to? Bye, Short and Nice. You have a great night. Thank you for stopping in. Guilt is a mechanism we use to control people. It's an illusion. Who did Ted Bundy say that to? The correct answer is C, as in cat. Stephen McHowd, who, by the way, is an FBI profiler with the FBI. That is a quote that he said, and it's on the actual recordings, audio recordings, because Stephen McHowd actually recorded every single one of the conversations with Ted Bundy. And it's one of the first things that, after sitting down and greeting him and talking to him. I know because I've been reading his book. It's a good book. He's actually done quite a few interviews with talking about his time with Ted. He's a very interesting man. Okay, question number 22. Ted Bundy openly pondered this question: what made people attracted to one another? Was Ted Bundy ever attracted to any of his actual victims? A, no. B, yes, two of them. C, he wouldn't say. Or D, he was attracted to all of them. Was Ted Bundy ever attracted to any of his actual victims? He openly pondered the question: what made people attracted to one another? Is that true? Isn't that true, Kay? That's the saying. Anyone who represents himself has a fool for a client. Stacy Payne, I give up. B or D, you can't decide. Ted Bundy openly pondered the question: what made people attractive to one another? Was Ted Bundy ever attracted to any of his victims? The judge in O'Neill's case carefully said she felt his representation of himself was effective. She's probably trying to prevent an appeal. I don't know. The guy's a fucking monster, and he's a giant piece of shit. Sorry for my language, but he is. For what he did, I mean, just focusing on the facts of the case and what he actually did. I mean, looking like Sideshow Bob in court was one thing, but the crime that he actually committed was just horrendous. One can get a lawyer for $200 per hour, or they can pay $2,000 for a lawyer. If representing yourself was so easy, a lawyer charging $2,000 wouldn't get any business. Yeah, there's something to be said about that, right? I don't know anything about, electricity, and wiring a house. So I'm not going to do it myself. I mean, I could probably learn enough about it through a YouTube video on how to do it, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to hire somebody to come in and do it who knows what they're doing. And if I needed a lawyer to defend me in a court case, I mean, I'd definitely hire an attorney to do that. Ted Bundy openly pondered the question: what made people attracted to one another? Was Ted Bundy ever attracted to any of his victims? Ladies and gentlemen, the correct answer, according to Ted Bundy, is A, no. He was never attracted to a single one of his victims. He actually said that several of them were repulsive, but there was something that he didn't find as an attractive quality, but there was just something about them that he had the urge to try to get them to come with him. And that you can actually hear for yourself in Ted Bundy's audio tapes with the FBI profiler. He lied. Well, Ted Bundy lied about a lot of stuff. He probably was lying about that as well. Yeah, he could have been lying about it, but that's the answer. As far as the question, he openly pondered the question when he was having a conversation with the FBI, and he was sitting there talking about he was never able to figure out the social cues, and what makes one person attractive to another. And he said that he never found was able to actually understand what made one person attracted to the other person. And when the profiler asked him, he goes, "Well," he goes, were you ever attracted to any of these women that you killed?" And he said, "No." He was never attracted to them, and then went on a little bit of a pause. Then he goes on to say, that he actually found, several of them repulsive. Now, there's more to that, but I can't say it because we have more trivia questions to come, and I'd be giving away the answer. Okay, question number 23. Besides being a serial killer, Ted Bundy was extremely gifted at what? That obviously I phrased that wrong. That's all I mean. Ted Bundy was an extremely gifted what? No, it should be Ted Bundy was extremely gifted at, A, being a student, B, forgery, C, auto mechanic, or D, carpenter. What was Ted Bundy extremely gifted at besides killing? Good night, Jen. Thank you for stopping in, Jen. I hope you had fun playing the True Crime Trivia tonight. Didn't his girlfriend's daughter say that at one time he creeped her out by getting naked while playing hide and seek with her? I don't know, Stacy. He may have. I don't think that. Well, hold on. Let me read your question. Didn't his girlfriend's daughter? I don't know. I know he never actually spent any time with his actual real daughter. Besides being a serial killer, Ted Bundy was extremely gifted at what? Being a student, a forger, an auto mechanic, or a carpenter? Stephanie Fisher lying. Yeah. Yeah. Well, he when he was there, he gave interviews. When he was on death row for 10 years, that 10-year span while waiting execution, he would tell people whatever they wanted to hear. In the Amazon special, they did. She said he got naked playing hide and seek. I'm not surprised. All the above, Stacy. Besides being a serial killer, Ted Bundy was extremely gifted at what? Ladies and gentlemen, Ted Bundy was an excellent forger. B, as in boy, is the correct answer. He was an excellent forger. During his time when he was in high school, Ted Bundy became very gifted at forgery, but he was making bogus fake lift tickets to ski resorts, passes to go on trips, tour bus trips, and alike. And he also stole a lot of stuff. He would steal He would break into people's garages and steal snow skis, snowshoes, and items like that. But he was very gifted at forgery. So much so, he was never really caught at the forgery itself. For the lift tickets, they passed. People just thought that he got great deals on lift tickets to ski resorts, mainly to White Pass Ski Resort, which is in the Cascade Mountains. It's a good distance from Seattle, but he was living over there at the time, growing up. But must have heard it somewhere. LOL. Moments in trading. Good point. But it's A. Yeah, he wasn't really all that great of a student. A lot of his the classes, and the reason why he kept on dropping out and transferring or moving on from one university to another was because he just didn't have the attention span to actually buckle down and actually do it, and become a good student. All right, question number 24. On March 1st, 1976, he was sentenced to how many years in prison for kidnapping Carol DeRanch? A, prison, B, life, C, 1 to 15 years, or D, 20 to 25 years. On March 1st, 1976. Good night, Cement Shoes. Thank you for stopping in. You have a great week, Cement Shoes. A serial student, okay? Yeah. Falling for a killer. They talked to Liz and her daughter. March 1st, 1976, he was sentenced to how many years in prison for kidnapping of Carol DeRanch? A, probation, B, life, C, 1 to 15, or D, 20 to 25. Ted's brother, Richard, is also on the Amazon special to half-brother. He's a half-brother. He doesn't have, Ted Bundy does not have any full siblings. At least none that we know of. Stephanie Fisher, C, because hot space said so. I know, but still brother. So I'll call him half-brother, brother. Yeah. I mean, he's splitting hairs there, but I guess he's technically a brother is a brother, sister is a sister. Colin the Cat Lady is going with C as well. Okie is going with C. Jeannie's going with C. All right, on March 1st, 1976, how long was Ted Bundy sentenced to for the kidnapping of Carol DeRanch? The correct answer, ladies and gentlemen, is C, 1 to 15 years. C as in cat, 1 to 15 years for that. Question number 25. After escaping and making his way to Florida, how did Ted Bundy support himself? A, shoplifting and purse snatching. B, male prostitution. C, auto theft and sales of stolen cars. Or D, being a gigolo. How did Ted Bundy support himself after escaping and running away to Florida? How did he support himself while he was in Florida? Giving me Meep Meep gave me a thumbs down. Sorry, Meep Meep. Gigolo. Stacy, otherwise known as a pimp. Pimping the game. Being the game pimping. Mostly who he killed looked very similar. Hi, Heather. Welcome to the stream, Heather. Yes, that was one of the questions that's on this trivia tonight, Heather. All of them had the same basic body style, size, and hair color and length of hair as his ex-girlfriend. Hot Space is going with A and C. C and his mommy. Is D and B. D is being a gigolo. Well, I mean, male prostitution would be he whored himself out. A prostitute, that'd be a male prostitution. A gigolo would be somebody who controls somebody else, and they actually do the prostitution. So, isn't it gigolo a male equivalent of a gold-digging female? I don't know. That's the honest truth. Moments and Train, I do not know. Don't think pimp and gigolo are the same. Well, according to this trivia question, I actually looked this one up on two different sources online. The Urban Dictionary, and I looked it up also on a forum that for slang for different things, and they're not the same. Gigolo is a slang term that is used for someone who is a pimp. Let's ask David, what's his name? All right, after escaping and making his way to Florida, how did Ted Bundy support himself? The correct answer, ladies and gentlemen, is A, shoplifting and purse snatching. After escaping to Florida, how did he support himself? By shoplifting and purse snatching. How he supported himself while he was there. All right, question number 26. Who was Robert Ressler to Ted Bundy? A friend and a reporter. B, a bar bouncer he knew. C, his fence for stolen cars. Or D, an FBI agent. Who was Robert Ressler to Ted Bundy? David Lee Roth did a cover. I'm just a gigolo, and everywhere I go, everyone knows the bars I'm playing. Gigolo, gigolo, gigolo. Yep, Van Halen. Just remember, you might as well jump. My high school band routine was to that song. Great fun. Just a Gigolo. Who was Robert Ressler to Ted Bundy? Eddie Van Halen, best guitarist ever. He's up there. I definitely, Reichard, I'd put Eddie Van Halen in the top 5. If I had to pick my favorite guitarist of all time, I would put Eddie Van Halen maybe at number 5. Buddy Guy would be either 1 or 2. Can Heat, the blues musician, I'd put him number 1. More for his inventiveness, and style. But in that, also Eddie, gets a lot of credit there for his inventiveness with work on the guitar. And I put Clapton up, maybe in the top 10. But yeah, worst band ever was the Styx. You don't like Iowa Gatto, Mr. Roboto? Moments in Training. No joke. I went to a blues festival. I think this was like 1989, 90, something like that. And I had no idea. I knew, first off, the headline band was George Clinton and the Funkadelics. So I knew who George Clinton was, but I didn't know who any of these other artists were. And we got there, and it's like an open, like Greek amphitheater kind of thing. You just go in and sit down wherever you want, general admission only. And I walked in, we sat down, we got comfortable, and Buddy Guy came on stage. And I was absolutely blown away. Blown away. But, it's like, where has this guy been my entire life? Jesus Christ, this guy's good. Brian May. I put Brian May out there. Best guitarist, Billy Strings. Moments in Trading, saw Buddy Guy. Who is Robert Ressler to Ted Bundy? The correct answer, ladies and gentlemen, is D. He is the profiler with the Behavioral Analysis Unit with the FBI. Very highly decorated profiler with the FBI. Jimmy Page and Humphreys on the Bay in San Diego. I saw Buddy Guy at the amphitheater in what's called the Gorge. It's the Gorge Amphitheater here in Washington State. But Lightning Hopkins would fill out my top 5. And then, 6 through 10, probably guitarists that a lot of people have never heard of. I definitely have to put Dimebag Darrell, at number 6. Most people wouldn't know who he is. But you had fun, Marilyn? Are you taking off? Well, if so, have a great week. All right. So Robert Ressler was the FBI agent, highly decorated FBI agent with the Behavioral Analysis Unit with the FBI. All right. Question number 27. Where did Teddy keep his decapitated heads of the few victims he kept as trophies? A, in the refrigerator. B, in the freezer. C, in a shower. Or D, a trophy case in the living room. Where did Ted Bundy keep the decapitated heads of a couple of his victims? Moments in Trading, you know who Dimebag is? Dimebag Darrell, shot and killed on stage by a crazed fan. Stacy Payne, you give? Does it have to be a freezer? Well, A is refrigerator, B is freezer, C is shower, and D is a trophy case. I'm no killer, but that's what I'd do. Stick them in the freezer. Jeffrey Dahmer kept, the skulls and heads of several of his victims in the refrigerator, not in the freezer, in the refrigerator. But again, the rest of their bodies were in 55-gallon drums in his, all over his damn apartment. Stacy Payne, your husband says freezer. I'd say D, as I remember something Ted saying. Excuse me. 8 heads in a duffel bag. Yep. Pantera. I have that tattooed on my arm. Meet me. Memorial. I have a memorial on my left arm. I have a memorial to Dimebag Darrell, and on my right arm, you see the question mark there, is a memorial to a friend of mine who died in 2004. He passed away doing a motorcycle stunt. Indian Larry. He was briefly featured on the television program American Chopper, I think it was, or OCC, or one of those shows like that back, when all that was a craze. He was on it briefly, but I never knew him from the motorcycle, part of it. I knew him, from the connection through people who did carnivals and magic shows and stuff like that. But Zelda, howdy from the very windy, cold Columbia River, Woodland, Washington. Hi, Zelda. Hope you and your husband are having a great weekend. Thank you for stopping in. Joe Pesci, the man who never really wanted to be an actor. And just think about that for a minute, ladies and gentlemen. Joe Pesci never wanted to be an actor. And he still, to this day, doesn't prefer to be an actor. He wants to be a singer. And the acting was only a way for him to further his actual singing career. No, I'm not joking. Watch some of the earlier interviews with Joe Pesci when he first started to get Hollywood success. He didn't want to be an actor. He wanted to be a singer. Watched the movie Hellion to see my daughter as a stunt double in the motocross. Really? I didn't know that. Your daughter's a stunt double in motocross doubles? That's cool. All right, where did Ted Bundy keep the decapitated heads of a few of his victims that he had kept as trophies? Stacy, I believe, said that her husband said he kept them in the freezer. Stacy, your husband is correct. He kept them in the freezer. That he kept the heads in the freezer and would take them out periodically and put them on display in his living room. Ladies and gentlemen, Ted Bundy's ghost has finally died. I just killed Ted Bundy's ghost. He is now gone. Favorite guitarist, Kay, is Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix was good. He's definitely up there, and I put him in the top 10. But Buddy Guy, is he just as talented, guitarist as Hendrix was, and they lived basically at the same time frame and everything else. But obviously, Buddy Guy, I don't know if he's still alive, but phenomenal guitarist. Can Heat, Lightning Hopkins. I really prefer the guitar style of rhythm and blues and how would you describe it? Bluegrass. But I also like the harder, more riffy, rock and roll, type of Carlos Santana. Santana is good. All right, question number 28. Otherwise, we're going to be here all night long if I don't keep on going. Number 28. Of all the psychologists Ted Bundy was interviewed by, what was the one and only thing that he was officially diagnosed with? A, manic depressive, B, narcissism, C, bipolar, or D, compulsive anger issues. What is the one and only truly true thing that he was diagnosed with? By all the psychologists who interviewed him, you have to be interviewed, one-on-one with a psychologist. They can't do it over a video call or whatever. They have to actually meet you. Brooks, have you heard of Doc and Merle Watson? Doc and Merle Watson. So for some reason, I'm thinking that I have of Merle Watson, or might be thinking of somebody else. It sounds familiar, though, Brooks. Chuck Berry. Chuck Berry had some great songs. Of all the psychologists Ted Bundy was interviewed by, what was the one and only thing he was officially diagnosed with? Shrugs and flat. That's probably where I've heard of them from. He says B. A and C. Manic depressive and bipolar. Isn't A and C the same? I don't know. 1 second. Let's see. Where is it? Oh, there it is. All right. Abnormal psychology textbook. This is my wife's. Let's look it up. Bipolar manic depressive disorder. So let's look up manic depressive. It's the only way you're ever going to learn anything, right? Because I don't know the answer. You would think you'd be able to look in the index under manic, no, it's not underneath manic, so maybe it's underneath depressive. Well, all right, so I'll give you the answer before and while I look this up. So number 28, the correct answer is A, manic depressive disorder is the only thing he is officially diagnosed with. And we'll go on to 29 while I look this up. Number 29, how many episodes of Criminal Minds, the American TV show, have been based on the murders committed by Ted Bundy? A, 5, B, 10, C, 6, or D, 12? How many actual murders of Ted Bundy murders have been used as the basis of the Criminal Minds TV show? Manic depressive, a low state marked by significant levels of sadness, lack of energy, low self-worth, guilt, or related symptoms. That is the definition of manic depressive. Bipolar. Now I'm looking up bipolar. Bipolar disorder, a disorder marked by alternating or periods of time of manic and or depressive, mania or depressiveness. Then underneath that, it has bipolar disorder level 1, 2, and 3. Bipolar disorder level 1. A type of bipolar disorder in which a person experiences full manic and or major depressive episodes. Bipolar disorder 2. A type of bipolar disorder in which a person experiences mildly manic or episodes and or depressive episodes. Level 3 for underneath bipolar disorder. A bipolar disorder of extreme agitation and extreme levels of excitement of symptoms that may vary wildly from highs to lows. So 1, 2, and 3. So I guess technically, to answer your question, yeah, they might be the same. I would have to actually ask my wife, who is working on her master's degree in psychology, but she's not here right now to actually ask the question to. So I would say that they sound like they are. They do use the same terminology in both of them. So it's alternating depression and mania. Yep. Well, I just read it to you exactly from the textbook. This is Abnormal Psychology, 11th edition. When was this published? So someone's going to ask. By Ronald J. Comer, Princeton University, Werther's publisher. And this was published in 2018. Did you, Amy? Amy, do you happen to work in the field of psychology or clinician? My wife is working on her degree in abnormal sexuality. Is her area where she's studying now. But manic depression is its own condition, yes. Where bipolar, you have both parts, depression is only one. See? We're learning something new. Okay, how many episodes of Criminal Minds, American TV show, have been based on the murders of Ted Bundy? For question number 29, the correct answer is D, as in dog. 12 episodes of Criminal Minds, the American TV show. Episodes have been based on things that Ted Bundy did. It doesn't say if it was the whole act of the murders or what, but it just says 12 episodes have been based on the acts of Ted Bundy. Okay, question number 30. According to the FBI unit of the Behavioral Analysis Unit, how many killers have confessed Ted Bundy was an influence for what they did? How many serial killers have confessed to the FBI Behavioral Analysis Unit that they were influenced by what Ted Bundy did? We'd hope it to be 0, but apparently that's not one of the options. Is it 2, 6, 10, or 1? How many killers have confessed that Ted Bundy was an influence for what they did? I want to do addiction counseling. That's cool. My wife originally wanted to go into a pharmaceutical and do pharmaceutical research. She's like, she really believes that that would be the most helpful area of study. But now over time, things have kind of changed as her interest as she's gotten into, her studies. So I've always found that the psychology behind what I do, the people I actually report on and the cases that I look into and I report on here on YouTube, the psychology has always been something that just interests me. Why did they do the things that they do? What made them tick, or get to that point where they thought that this was a logical thought process or worth going down? Don't mind us, Will. Steph has the rest of these for us. Now, this is the last question, Stacy. Question number 30. It's only 30 questions every Sunday night. Sometimes I pick an additional bonus one. I don't have one tonight. Don't have a bonus question tonight. I have a bonus thing for you to put up on screen that I snagged off of the FBI's website. K is basically a symptom. I had manic depressive disorder, but I'm not bipolar. Bye, Hot Space. You have a great weekend, rest of your weekend, and have a great week ahead. Thank you again for stopping in and playing True Crime Trivia with us tonight. Oh yeah, I just find it vastly interesting. Like what makes people tick, and why do they do the things that they do? Larry's two cousins are research pharmacists, retired recently. They're both very smart. That's cool, Zelda. All right. According to the FBI's unit of the BAU, how many killers, not serial killers, just killers, have confessed that Ted Bundy, and obviously I missed the N in Bundy, was an influence for what they did? The correct answer is A, 2. 2 killers. People have confessed that they actually were influenced by the acts of Ted Bundy. 2. All right, that is all 30 questions, and this comes from the FBI's wanted poster for Ted Bundy, for jobs that Ted Bundy had. FBI wanted poster for Ted Bundy. He worked as a bellboy, a busboy, a cook's helper, a dishwasher, janitor, law student, office worker, political campaign worker, psychiatric social worker, salesman, and security guard. Those are the things that they had on the wanted poster for types of jobs that Ted Bundy had when they were looking for him. Israel Keys said he learned from Ted Bundy. Meet Me school starts August 2nd for your little ones, or I don't even know when my son goes back to school. Don't have a clue. Usually they send home like a school calendar, and it tells it when school starts. All that developed his ability to lure people. You too, Zelda? I often wondered that myself. What am I going to do when I grow up someday? I don't know. The actual answer to that question. I know I enjoy the hell out of what I'm doing now. I really do. Have I seen Griffey the Dancing Cockatoo? No. That's a no from me. You didn't do very good on the Ted Bundy tonight. I'm sorry. Meet me. 7:25:21. Out of the 30 questions tonight, all 30 questions tonight came from the A&E Discovery Channel, Discovery History Channel on the life of Ted Bundy. All 30 questions came from their trivia on Ted Bundy. Nope, I do not, Brooks. I quit my job a year ago. This is all I do. And believe me, this is all consuming. I probably work more now doing this and for far, far less money than I did what I was doing before. But to tell you the truth, though, Brooks, no lie at all, I really did not like my job. I worked for the same company for about 10 years, and it got to the point where they had decided that they are no longer going to have contracts and do the work here in America, that they were closing out their international division. So they were selling off all their contracts to another company. So I could have stayed on with the same company. But I went to them and I said, nope, I'm not going to do it. That's it. I'm done. And that was the last time I cleaned out my little cubicle, and I put everything in a cardboard box, and I came home. But me and my wife had been talking about it beforehand to that point. Is that Stacy? Is that the bird that with no feathers? He worked the suicide hotline. I thought yes, Ted Bundy. He most certainly did. He worked with Ann Rule. It's suicide hotline in Seattle. YouTuber for life. Yeah, I don't know if I can do this for life. I mean, eventually I'm gonna run out of money from my that I have in savings. I mean, I'm not gonna go dwell on it too much, but it is what it is. I mean, I'm obviously YouTube doesn't really pay unless you have a giant following. But I just wanted to throw myself in it, and not hold anything back. I didn't want to say, look, I tried, but I failed at it, or I wasn't successful at it because I had all these restrictions, or I had this or that going on. And I said, I'm gonna throw myself in it. I'm gonna give myself 2 years, to do it, and we're gonna see where it goes. And that's the honest truth. And that I have no excuses at all. If it doesn't work in 2 years and I'm not successful at it, I tried. And I know I gave it everything that I possibly had. So, everyone, you're a great group to hang out with. Really enjoyed this. Thank you, Will. Thank you, Stephanie. I hope you had, I'm glad you had fun. Yes, to Ann Rule and Ted Bundy. Yikes. Yeah. Love the trivia night. Appreciate the fun. Every Sunday night at 7 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. So adjust your calendar to time zone wherever you are. But 7 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time every Sunday. Next Sunday will be general crime trivia. And then the week after that, we will do another, so it goes back and forth between general crime trivia and, killer trivia. But next Sunday, it'll be general. Good job, Will. I saw a documentary on Bundy a while ago. I should have paid more attention as I didn't do so well. Well, it happens, Kay. Well, I'm glad you were able to come in and play true crime trivia with us tonight. Political campaign worker. When he was working for the presidential campaign for Rockefeller, which is very interesting because he really did. Ted had a lot of influence in helping that man try to get elected to, as president, get the nomination. Love this tonight. Thanks, always fun, always interesting. Thank you, Brooks. Well, Stephanie getting some correct. LOL. I was 0 for 0. I'm sorry, Stacy. But Stacy, thank you very much for being here tonight. I hope you have a wonderful week. And everybody else, thank you again for stopping in and playing True Crime Trivia for tonight. I am off. So Ted was committing. Yes, she was. But thank you everyone again for being here. And you all have a wonderful week ahead.